In light of the biblical verses we analyzed in Part 2, to what extent has God predestined His will, His purpose for creation, and the purpose of dispensation for restoration? God is absolute, eternal and unchanging, therefore, God's scopo must also be absolute, eternal and unchanging. Therefore, His will, which aims to complete the purpose of creation and the purpose of dispensation for restoration, must also be eternal, absolute and immutable. Isaiah 46:11. Since God's will is absolute and immutable, if a man chosen by God fails to fulfill his part of the responsibility, God continues in the fulfillment of His will by choosing another man who can replace the first man. So God's will is absolute, but the realization of it depends on man's completion of his part of the responsibility. So, God predestined that His will would be realized when Adam and Eve completed their responsibility by not eating the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Genesis 2:17. In the dispensation for salvation through the Messiah Jesus, God predestined that John the Baptist, the temple priests and the entire Jewish people, as the people chosen and prepared for 4,000 years for the coming of the Messiah, and then all mankind, would complete their responsibility by believing in Jesus as Messiah and following Him. John 3:16, Matthew 19:21. However, this did not happen. Jesus was not recognized, nor accepted as the Messiah, rather He was crucified as the worst of human beings. In history, unfortunately, man has seldom completed his small part of responsibility, and this has caused the completion of God's dispensation for restoration to be repeatedly delayed until our time with the return that has already taken place of the Messiah.